Our lead story of the day is a clip from Real Time with Bill Maher that has Republican Nancy Mace of South Carolina and writer Andrew Sullivan discussing gender ideology and gender theory as well as pronouns that are being pushed upon our youth inside our education system and the classroom. We're going to break it down for you, but as always, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a short, sweet comment down below. If you don't know what to write something as simple as good morning. We got an awesome community here on the Bald Brad channel that would love to engage with you, not only in the live chat, but also in the comment section below, as well as myself. So your help and support would be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll right into the tape.
Why do you have to teach it? Why does a 4-year-old come in, and instead of teaching them the colors, you're telling them, pick your pronoun?
Well, yeah.
Where on earth did that come from? Who told us it was going to be imposed on children?
And now it's in school curriculum everywhere. I told my kids when this wokeness started happening, this gender thing started happening, it's pretty new. I said, don't be coming home with your gender pronouns. You better be coming home with A's and B's. I mean, that's what it really should be about, our education system.
Well,
and it's not,
but more and more you look at these curriculum, it's all about that stuff.
Well,
it's all about identity. It's all about being queer or trans. I mean, children can't understand that stuff. Not in kindergarten.
And you say that as a queer.
Right. I don't want to teach 5-year-olds about being gay. I think it's wait a little bit, and they'll pick it up anyway. It's not like they can't watch the TV. I mean, you don't. But what they're doing is not telling them that. They're telling them something worse. They're telling them that people can choose to be a boy or a girl or neither or both or something else entirely.
Right.
That is a lie. You can't. And it's done in order to placate certain special interests in Washington, namely the LGBTQIA plus people who also have been captured by the far left. We should say no to this.
I know, why isn't, I just don't understand why this is the hill the Democratic Party wants to die on.
Because they're too scared. Both parties are too scared.
They're scared of the base.
They're bullied by the extreme right, bullied by the extreme left, and no one has the balls to say,
well, hold on. This is one of the major issues of this clip that I have a problem with. He's saying that the Democrats are being bullied by the extreme left and that they're bullied by the extreme right. But the Democrats are with the extreme left on this issue. I mean, you literally have the president of the United States pushing this whole thing as well, along with the vice president, along with the freaking Karine Jean-Pierre and her predecessor, Jen Psaki. I mean, this has been going on for 2 years plus now. So the LGBTQ plus community that votes for Democrats are in bed with the Democrat Party. And he's saying that those that are in bed with the Democrat Party are bullying the Democrat Party, when it's the Democrat Party that's pushing this whole thing, which is why Bill Maher just got done saying, why is it the Democrat Party wants to have this issue to be the issue that they want to die on the hill about? And you can't say it's the Republican side or the conservatives or the far right saying that they're bullying these people. I mean, hell, Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre, anybody in the Democrat Party is now saying MAGA supporters, right? The new lingo is ultra MAGA, are threats to democracy and all these other things. We don't want to teach all this stuff to our children. We don't want this happening in the classroom. We're not bullying anybody. We're just raising the issue of going, you're grooming these kids. It's wrong what you're doing. It's disgusting. And I'm saying this as an educator. It's wrong. It's disgusting. It's not okay to do this inside the classroom, but somehow we're bullying them when we say this or call them groomers. All the while they call us racist, sexist, bigots, homophobes, all these other things all the time, but that's not bullying. No. So I don't agree with that, but let's continue.
No, we haven't had a moment yet.
And again,
when someone stands up and says no.
We're none of this is anti-trans.
No.
Most of these people who are making the argument we're making are liberal people who think it's a great thing that in America now anybody can actually be whatever they want. And of course, trans is a real thing, rare, but real, but rare. That part seems to be, we all seem to have to pretend that we're born, I don't know, jump ball.
I don't know.
I just want to point out, if you notice, and this is kind of where I think Bill Maher's bias seeps out, is that he doesn't want to say Republicans and conservatives, so he has to use the word liberals. It's not liberals coming out and saying all this. No, it's not. No, it's not. Bill Maher is like an outlier for liberals to come out and talk about this stuff. You would see more liberals do so, and you don't. You see primarily conservatives, Republicans, Ron DeSantis, myself, you have the Daily Wire unit, you have Crowder, right? You have Candace Owens, you have Turning Point USA, you have PragerU, all pushing this stuff. I don't see any liberal outlets, maybe it's just not coming up in my feed, really making this a heavy issue here. So I don't agree with that, but hey, he'd be slandered by his own people by saying, oh, Republicans are speaking the same way I am right now because he doesn't want to get lumped in with them and all this other stuff.
And it's just bullshit. It's just
kids
bullshit.
can't even pick out and decide what pizza topping they want on their pizza at 12. How do they know if they want to be a eunuch or a boy or a girl or a tree or whatever the heck the 100+ genders are that are out there now? They don't know. And the thing is,
Right,
I'm pro LGBT. Yeah, that's a thing.
Did I not read that in your
yes,
article
we
that
read
you can
that in Andrew's article.
teaching a kindergartner that you can identify as a tree?
Yes.
And then
It's
telling.
not a joke. It's serious. It's
No,
happening.
I'm deadly
it's-
serious,
it's
but
not-
that
but to a
advances social justice.
What?
Yeah.
But then to tell something like this to a kindergartner.
What's crazy is that you hear the crowd just hysterically laughing. And I get the humor behind it, but you're also talking about people's lives, right? This is where the development of the brain is happening, happens all the way roughly 25 to 28, depending on who you're talking about. I mean, this is a little child that's absorbing all the information from an authority figure, meaning an adult. It's not funny. They really believe all this stuff, you guys. I mean, there's people teaching them they could be a cat, a dog, a wolf, and that's why these people grow up thinking that they are those things. It's not like it just came out of the ether. I mean, some of it did, but the vast majority was pushed upon them in some way, shape, or form. And if it's not happening at home, and it's not happening from their friends or their friends' family, it's happened probably in the classroom. And this is nuts, and people are just laughing about it. I mean, you're going to have an entire generation that is totally screwed up here because of what's going on in our education system. And trust me, I see some of it. As an educator, I see some of it. So it's wild that you have people going laughing about it, thinking, oh, it's just so funny. It's terrible. It's wrong. It's seriously wrong. It's really not funny. Again, I understand there is a humor side of it, but not like that. This is weird.
Gardener, or that boys can menstruate and girls can have penises. It's got to be. How can it process that when you're that age?
It's batshit crazy to do this to our kids when they're young. I mean, they will eventually figure it out, like we all did. I mean, I dropped out of high school at 17. I'm in Congress now. Like, I eventually figured it out. It takes some time sometimes, but I eventually got there.
I know, but we went through some of the people who were your colleagues. I wouldn't brag about that.
Well, I mean, just because you might have colleagues that are knuckleheads doesn't mean that you didn't figure it out. So, I mean, I don't get that joke there. I mean, I understand Bill Maher's going, oh, well, you're a Republican, so clearly you didn't figure it out and all these other things. But one thing I do want to address here, you guys, is the idea of what they said of, oh, well, these kids will figure it out later. And there is some truth to that. They will figure a lot of things out, actually, in life later on. But there's this push for some reason that, kids have to learn everything inside the classroom. And that couldn't be furthest from the truth. We have only so much that time and only so much curriculum that we can cover inside the classroom per the standards that are offered up by the state that we need to cover. And what's amazing to me is it's being pushed. Oh, well, you got to teach them this, you got to teach them that aren't in the standards. But it's like, why can't you just teach them that at home? I mean, why can't you just hop on Amazon or go to Barnes and Nobles and pick your kid up a book and teach them that yourself, whatever you want? You're kind of seeing this pushed on Ron DeSantis in Florida, where they're basically calling him a racist because he doesn't want to implement an AP course for African American studies, I believe is what it's called. So they're calling him a racist, going, well, you're allowing European AP studies to take effect in your state, but why not this? And you going, well, you guys are having a whole curriculum and a lesson on queer theory inside this course that you want to implement. So it's not about teaching African American studies or their ancestry or their lineage or the history of it in general. You're trying to push a certain agenda indoctrination upon our youth and our kids, and he's not going to have it. So again, as an educator, I sit back going, look, I only have so much time in the classroom with them. I only have so much time to teach the standards. I'm going to focus on the standards because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not in the business of doing all that crazy stuff of gender ideology, gender theory, and all this other stuff. I'm there to teach them mathematics. Statistics and finance are the two things I actually teach. I'm not there to do all that weird, wacko stuff here and do this make-believe stuff that a man can be a woman can be a man, and all this other silliness. I mean, it really is silliness, you guys, and it's disgusting that they're doing this to our children. Folks, I teach high schoolers, and they struggle with a lot of things and conceptualizing a lot of things. Adults struggle with conceptualizing what this LGBTQ plus indoctrination is. I mean, I literally been in faculty trainings when I first became a teacher at another district, where we had somebody come in and talk to us about this very same thing they're talking about. And I look over at the science department, and I'm not even kidding, hand to God, they literally have the pamphlets and are turning around because the whole department's trying to figure it out as science teachers that have like masters in this stuff, going, this doesn't make sense. So adults, it doesn't make sense, but they expect a kid that has freaking crayons up his nose and is eating the freaking paste, the glue, to figure all this stuff out. It's crazy. It's disgusting. It's grooming. I know we talked about this before at length, but you guys, at some point it needs to stop, and it's only going to be the parents that make it stop. And again, if you want your kid to learn something, You can teach them yourself. Go get them a book. You can find anything on the internet. You could literally learn anything on the internet. I mean, hell, you don't even have to go to college anymore to take full-on classes. I mean, Harvard has their whole law thing on YouTube that you could just watch. You don't have to go to Harvard to actually learn a Harvard freaking course. Well, speaking of Harvard, speaking of actually knowing things, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.